Hey everyone, I'm glad to be back. Guess what? We have another artist, a living artist right here in Columbus, Ohio that I get to work with, and we call each other family. And what is cool about this, the more I get to study the other artists, the more I get to know some of the details that I kind of overlooked, because sometimes life, so much information comes at us so fast. First, I want to remind you, our first art project we did was the house that we started with tape. Hopefully you're on cardboard. I hope you're trying some more expansion to this house, because it looks like we might be teaching online for another year, the way things are going, because we want to be so sure that we don't stay infected. We're washing our hands, wearing these masks, keeping social distance. I want you to also know that the program comes from Art in the House, and I like to say it's from our house to yours, so we get to hang out in each other's house this virtual way. And I'm going to put this in here so it stays together, because this is my fancy intro. And since we collaborated on this, we worked together on something, I want to make sure I keep records, because these are the things I look forward to as I get older and I get to live in a retirement space. I'm going to pull these things out and remember the time we had together, because I can play these videos. Now, today's person is April Sunami. So excited to work with April, and so excited to tell you about Miss April. And you also should have, well, some people that know us, that we're working in the summer camp, got these little mats. So we've been using mats to put down to show our, take care of mom's furniture or the table or our work area, so we can always just have a nice space and feel good, because the way you take care of your studio is the way you practice good studio habits. Now, I'm gonna show you a few things. Let me see, where am I gonna start at today? I'm gonna start with Miss April Sunami. I have two versions of the coloring sheet that were done by other young people. These were done with no name sign, so I can't give the credit to the persons. One used crayon markers and one used color pencils. Today, we're going to work with watercolor wash. So I'm following the pattern of these. And the coolest thing is, this is a painting I'm making about Miss April with some of the images of her work. It's not completely done. When it's all done, I'll have a collective show that's going to travel somewhere around Ohio, maybe in your town or school, maybe in your library or the museum in your area. So we're looking forward to hanging out that way. So as I tell you about Miss Sunami, we're going to be using watercolors to demonstrate it, but I'd like to also tell you about some of her family. What's cool about the Sunami family, they had a show in 2018 at the Cultural Arts Center here in Columbus, Ohio. And it was called Generations of Art, the Sunami family, exploring identity and creative identity as well. And so what's cool about that, I'm always interested in our generations and where we come from, who we are, and what we do. That show was in collaboration with the Columbus Symphony and the Columbus Modern Dance Company. So what I would like you to know, that their roots trace back to the 1800s. And it was, I'll name some of the Sunami family in that trail. It's Sochi Sunami, then John Sunami, Jennifer Sunami, and granddaughter April Sunami, who we're talking about today. And they got a great grandson named River Sunami, who also plays the violin. And I found this on the World Wide Web, the internet. That's her husband, Chris Sunami, with the son, River. He's also an artist, and I saw his work at the show as well. So I'm excited to share this person with you, excited that you from around Ohio, we get to become family, we get to hang out in each other's space. And I'll show you some of April's work. This is a piece that was featured in that show in 2018. She always has these beautiful statuesque women that seem to be vulnerable, noble, and making a statement about community and family and connection. And some of them are very controversial in the sense of they deal with our tough issues that we don't know how to tackle. And then some of them have a lot of different kind of like designs and patterns. So I try to find that in the work. But one cool thing about Miss Sunami, I actually own one of her pieces that I brought from the Vanderelli room. It's an art studio space here in the west side of Columbus. This is called Don't Let Me Be Misunderstood #2. This was made in 2019. And what's so cool about this one, it has a little array of her. She uses broken glass, she uses pattern, she uses layers, and she's a mixed media artist. She's mixing different medias together to perform her finished piece. And on the back, you find she wrote the title, she got a price, and I kept the sticker that was in the actual museum or in the art gallery space. But I'm not going to tell you the price because that's between us. But yes, it's over $100. Yes, sir. And my wife let me get it for Father's Day because sometimes we treat ourselves with other people's art. I love other people's art. So one more thing about April, her husband, Chris Sunami, wrote this book back in, well, he signed it to me, 8/16/08 to Duarte, and an inspiration to me from Chris. And this has beautiful drawings and stories about being a hero. 30 ways you can be a hero, more like Mother Teresa, Martin Luther King, and 20 other world-changing people. And this is her book, and her husband's book. So they've been a family of generations looking for ways to reconcile mankind, looking for ways to use their creative abilities to connect. And today we're going to jump into this beautiful coloring sheet. So these are going to be downloadable at www.oaae.net for anyone across the state to connect, because we are a whole state of Ohio with groundbreaking artists all over the state. And as we connect, we're one great big family. And April's one of the people that I'm going to call from the East Side Canon. And also on the back of her story, the sheet will come a story about April too. I didn't even read that. It's a lot of reading, but she was born in Cincinnati, Ohio. She's an award-winning visual artist, primarily focusing on mixed media painting and installation. Sunami's work has been exhibited, internationally, nationally. There's a theater in Accra, Ghana, and Havana, and the Matinees Club. She's also been featured in various juried group shows, galleries, exhibits, museum, Columbus Museum of Art, National African American Museum and Cultural Center, and solo exhibit around Southern Ohio Museum, Portsmouth, Ohio. Her work is represented in private, corporate, and public collections throughout the United States. She's also a master teaching artist, guess where? At Art in the House, right with us. We have team meetings, we solve problems, and we're all navigating the COVID. So we're going to get into a painting demo today. And for those who have never met me, my name is Richard Duarte Brown. I think I'm in my 60s. Some days I want to be in my 20s. I never want to get old, and I'm always going to have art in my face in my retirement place. And I think I'm never really going to retire because we're born to create, communicate. And as long as I have breath, I'm going to be painting. Today, I'm going to use some watercolor with this. And I have a blue marker. But I've noticed that when April Sunami does her work, I'll put this out here again. She has these beautiful gray tones all in here in grayscale. It's like a monochromatic piece. Then it's offset with all this other color, this explosion of color, this pattern, this design, and then this glass, this broken glass. And I wonder if she has a thought behind that broken glass. And I did hear her say, because we did some murals here in Columbus, that she uses something that was broken, the broken glass from the broken windows from the Black Lives Matter things that happened, and the riots or the protesting, peaceful protesting. Some windows were broken and they were boarded up, and she used some of the broken glass and repurposed it into murals that spoke to the idea of coming to some resolve and some resolution for all the things that we're facing at this time in our history in our country. So when I get to her piece, I think about what April's like. I try to reflect a little bit about what I want to say and what I'm taking in. And so I'm using water again. And, I use a spray bottle sometime, and I have a mat down. I'm going to move my papers aside so they don't get smeared, because I keep this stuff for my scrapbook, and I'm going to keep my mats handy so it doesn't get buried in the treasures. I'm going to wet this paper and this paint. I have 2 paint sets. Actually, I have more than that, but today you're going to see me working with 2 of them because I like this this purple in here, because I think that I want purple in here, and I want the color to run a little bit more. So when I put the watercolors, again, like when I'm putting the watercolors down, I like to put stronger concentration at the edge where the black line is. And then when I mean black line, You see, I put it right there. I went orange over here because that's her shoulder. Today, I want to play with that brown in her face. I want it to run more. So this is going to get extra wet. I'm sorry if you don't like your wet paper too much, but I'm going to use strong browns today for some reason because I like the tones in here. And I'm going to, well, I got a lot of water on here. You know, if you get too much water, you can always blot it with a paper towel like this. And be careful how you pick it up because it'll tear easy. Let me just show you where I'm at right now. It's kind of like just a little bit of orange, a little bit of purple, a little bit of color. You don't have to rush. You're not in a race. But if you take your time, just kind of think about what do you like about life. You know, one thing cool about watercolor, once it dries, you can always go back. So if I take my brush and highlight where the black is, it makes it feel more dimensional instead of flat. Like dimensional means not flat, not. So I always get mixed up 2D and 3D. 3D is when it's not flat. 2D is when it's flat, I think. And I used to think different. I would always have to look at something and remind myself. Like sometimes I forget the word the, how to spell it, because I don't use it that much. And I get so excited about things that sometimes things like the aren't important in my head. I'm just worried about the color crying out and talking back to me. I love the colors to talk to me. So even though I started with some brown, I put a little orange in that face, and I think I want to wipe a little bit of purple. Oh, that was blue. And oh, I'll put my water in here. I have a rag right here if I get too saturated so I can test my colors, just see what color. That's actually more purple. I thought it was blue, but it looked blue. Oh, maybe it was. And if I wet it up some where shadow would be, put it in the hair, put a little bit. You know what I noticed? Your top lip is a little bit darker than your bottom lip. And, you know, and the eyes seem to have a little cast of blue or something. So I want this blue to run down here. Let me see. Blue, come on over here. Now, I know some of you guys might have better paints than this, but I've been practicing with this because OAAE gave us a set, you know, and we're making them work. We want to use them all up, and I want to paint with whatever you're painting with, and I want to try it. See, I want to saturate this with nice yellow because it's like the people in the background, it's like generations of women have stood and connected to humanity and looked out for building up the culture and building up a nation and building up a people. And it's like the artist's work reflects that. So I'm really so excited to be a part of this collaborative of other artists with OAAE. And I'm also excited to talk about April today and thankful that we get to have these people that are alive being part of our canon, the East Side canon. And you'll know more about that eventually. I'll explain that to you and show you how that all got started. But right now we want to go into these classes. So where the cowrie shells are in her hair up here, these are cowrie shells. They're like a shell that it's used for currency or was used for currency in the African culture. And so I think that if April was talking with her mouth, you would hear her tell you more details of things or some thoughts. I don't know if they just came in her head and she went, or if she thought about it first, or she just, I think something about April, I know she loves telling stories, and I know she loves connecting to humanity, and I know she's happy to make art. And what's cool, you can see it reflected in her every way she approaches things. Sometimes we have more in common than we realize once we sit down and pay attention. Now, today, I rarely use gray or black in my faces, straight black, but something is majestic. Let me just bring this back again. Look at the way she used that gray in there. I don't know. It's like a warm gray, has a slight blue cast to me. So I'm gonna go in and try to play with this blue. I'm gonna put the black with a little bit of blue and mix it in this little tray right here, but really go for a blue black. So it has like this strong wash. And I'm looking at how it's kind of a blue black versus I'll try it over here more. Yeah, you see what I'm doing? And I'm gonna go around. I'm gonna hold this one up and show you how, if I'm a little more deliberate with it and follow the black line and go under here, it kind of look how it stands out with the blue black. Let me just show you. And so you can do a lot more if you take your time, relax your mind, and just flow with your calmness. Because you know, You can be calm, you can be like a storm, you can be fast, you can move slow, you can go high, you can go low. You can do a lot of variables in your life when you think about it. And you always have a choice to be calm. You know, look, and notice this, when I paint under the chin, I'm gonna put a little bit darker gray so it has like a shadow, because our faces are not like hard edge lines. They're like formed and molded with light all around it. And depending on the light, it shows the shape and distinction of the mold of our beautiful bodies. Now, I'm missing some reddish color in here. So what's cool about this little, you can use a plate if you don't have one of these. I took this from my other acrylic paint tray, and I want this up here. Let me just tell you how my mind is thinking today. Every day it's different. The way my mind's thinking, I'm gonna paint this backwards so you can see what I'm doing. I think some red needs to come up here. And I'm gonna leave the eye open and let the red kind of speak. And I'm gonna pull some red in this pattern, maybe right here, and use this brush. And so let me show you something. If I take a little bit of blue and go over to red, it gives it like you can mix a little blue, use the edge. Look, I'm sticking just the edge of my flat brush, letting some of that red with the blue come on it. And then if I put it in the eye, look what happens. Isn't that cool? You can do such cool things with watercolor. Just wanted you to see that. So maybe April's kids, River and Moon, might paint one of these, because what's cool about this, when these are all complete, I'll make sure they get a nice good print of these, and these are going to travel in shows, and I'm going to spend my time enjoying the exchange of collaborating. So when my brush is saturated with some color, I want this yellow stronger up here. I can put a golden yellow around the hair so it glows. You can any area that's been dry already, you can come back in. So I picked up a little bit of black with that, and then I think I'm gonna see what happens right here. Now I'm gonna come up here. Oh, look at how that green and blue work together. So and I think I like some of this blue up here. My purple color is not working the way I want it today. I want some more purples in here, purple and red. Let me see if this does what I want. Let's see, I need more red for it to do what I was looking for. So I want maybe more orange. So let me see, come in here. I wanted some kind of shadow in here. See, you know, her shoulder is that one kind of purple, but if I put the red purple in there, then I can mix some of this red with this blue. I can play with this. So it's been really calming to paint with you today. I'm so excited to hang around with you. I'm going to wash some more colors around here, and I'm going to put some brown. Remember, you can, if I go around the edge right there, it's kind of really saturated with color. I love what's happening up here. I love the light in her face. I'm gonna put, that's more of a red brown, so I'm gonna add some more of that to her lip and around her eye, the shadow of her nose, and this other Sankofa bird. It's a Sankofa bird, and it's referring to return and get it, the knowledge, people, the culture, everything that we care about, our history, our generations. Wow, look at that blue coming in there. So sometimes with the watercolors, if you use the edge of your brush, you can control it in a cool way. I think I want some of this blue around here. I notice it feels kind of, actually I'm painting upside down and it feels fun. Do you guys have an exercise ball? Yeah, I have one of those, and sometimes I get to stretch and lean back and let the blood rush through my head and feel the circulation in my body. And right now, while I'm painting upside down, and it's doing something with my brain. It feels kind of relaxing, cool too. So I'm gonna come to a stopping point here. I'm putting a little bit more blue in here. Let me see, well, and a little bit right here. And I can say it's been really cool hanging with you this week. And this is our piece right here. It's still wet, so be careful how you pick it up. Remember, when it's dry, if you want to add more color, If you want to add marker to it or pencil, you can. You can do whatever you like, and you can experiment. You can make more copies and try different things. So remember, you can take these after you make them and put them all together and use these in your assignments at school. Since we're doing some online teaching, you can show some of the other artists you've learned around Columbus, Ohio. So look forward to talking to you again. So long for now, Duarte.